The opening frame fades in from black. A dim workshop comes into view, its walls lined with half-finished machines, wires coiled across the floor, and notebooks filled with sketches that appear more like visions than plans. At the center of this cluttered space is a name that would spark both admiration and doubt: Maxwell Chikumbutso. Narrator: in the history of invention, there are figures who rise from obscurity and redefine what is possible. But sometimes, their brilliance collides with controversy. Their work becomes difficult to verify, their claims harder to defend. This is the story of Maxwell Chikumbutso, an innovator to some, a deceiver to others.
A man caught between inspiration and illusion.
The scene cuts to everyday life in Zimbabwe: children running past old cars, mechanics repairing engines with limited tools, and homes flickering with unstable electricity. Narrator: Zimbabwe, a nation where power shortages are common, became the unlikely stage for claims of a technological revolution. From this landscape of scarcity, Maxwell emerged. A self-taught engineer, a high school dropout, and a man who spoke with conviction about ideas that defied the very foundations of science. Archival footage of Maxwell speaking in interviews plays briefly. Maxwell: archival, these designs are not from my own knowledge. I believe they are inspired by God. I only build what I am shown in my spirit. Narrator: his words resonated deeply. At a time when Africa was too often portrayed as a consumer of technology, Maxwell's promises carried something more powerful than machines. They carried pride. They carried hope. Visuals shift to a sleek prototype vehicle moving silently down a road, surrounded by curious onlookers. Narrator: in 2015, Maxwell unveiled what he called a self-powered electric car. According to him, it required no charging station, no fuel, no external power source. He described it as a system that generated energy while in motion, an endless cycle of power. It was a claim that, if true, would rewrite the laws of physics. Two engineers appear in a dramatized laboratory discussion. Engineer 1: if his system really works, it changes everything. No charging infrastructure, no dependency on oil.
A complete shift in global energy.
Engineer 2: or, it's impossible. Energy cannot be created from nothing. That's not how science works. Something is missing. Narrator: reaction was divided. To believers, Maxwell was a visionary ahead of his time. To skeptics, his claims violated the most basic scientific principles. Yet despite doubts, the prototypes appeared. Cars were demonstrated. Lights were powered. Cameras captured these events. But the question lingered: was this genuine innovation, or was it an illusion carefully maintained? Archival footage shows Maxwell explaining his car to a crowd, lifting the bonnet and pointing to components. Maxwell: there is no fuel tank here. No exhaust.
No alternator.
This system powers itself as it moves. It never requires charging. Narrator: for ordinary citizens, struggling with power cuts and high fuel costs, these demonstrations represented more than just machines. They represented independence, proof that Africa could innovate on its own terms. The scene cuts to an office in the United States. A man scrolls through online reports about Maxwell's inventions. American engineer: these claims are extraordinary. But where is the data? Where are the schematics? The peer-reviewed studies? Without evidence, it cannot be taken seriously. Narrator: the scientific community demanded verification, transparent testing, detailed documentation, reproducible results. None were provided. Maxwell refused to release technical details, insisting that powerful interests sought to steal or suppress his work. Supporters saw this as proof of a global conspiracy. Critics saw it as avoidance. The film moves to a dramatized boardroom scene. Investors sit across from Maxwell. Investor: Mr. Chikumbutso, what you describe could transform entire industries. But we cannot invest millions without independent proof. We need full access to test the system. Maxwell: I cannot give you the heart of my designs. Too many inventors before me have been silenced. Too many ideas stolen. I will demonstrate what I can, but the core remains mine. Narrator: without transparency, investors withdrew. Yet rumors of secret offers persisted. Stories spread of governments seeking exclusive rights, of corporations offering vast sums. Some said he was threatened. Others claimed he had already sold his work in secret. In the absence of evidence, speculation became the story. The camera follows a street interview with a young Zimbabwean. Young man, even if some don't believe him, what he gave us is hope. He made us believe Africa can stand with the world in technology. That matters. Narrator, but hope cannot light a city. Faith cannot move a vehicle. Technology requires proof, and the longer proof failed. To emerge, the more the line blurred between possibility and illusion. Clips from online platforms play, videos of Maxwell's demonstrations, heated debates in comment sections, headlines swinging between admiration and accusation. Narrator, to some, he was Africa's answer to Tesla, a visionary silenced by the establishment. To others, he was a con artist exploiting the dreams of his people. The truth remained hidden, locked behind secrecy and unverified claims. The film returns to the workshop. Maxwell sits over his machines, soldering wires, adjusting circuits. His face is focused, determined, but unreadable. Narrator, innovation thrives on openness.
Illusions survivent au mystery.
Was Maxwell Chikumbutso a misunderstood genius forced into secrecy, or a man whose inventions could never withstand scrutiny? His saga, like his machines, continues to run without a clear source of power. The story continues in the years following the first demonstrations. The excitement had reached international audiences, spreading far beyond Zimbabwe. Clips of the self-powered car appeared across social media platforms, carrying captions that ranged from awe to outright dismissal. For every person who declared this to be Africa's technological breakthrough, there was another who called it a hoax. Narrator, technology cannot live on spectacle alone. For every breakthrough that changes the world, there must be validation, peer review, replication, scrutiny under the harshest conditions. Yet with Maxwell's inventions, none of this materialized. Instead, the mystery deepened. The screen shifts to a dramatized newsroom setting, journalists discussing the Chikumbutso story. Journalist 1, he claims to have built a car that powers itself indefinitely. If that's true, it overturns centuries of physics. But we've been unable to see hard evidence. There's no data, no third-party reports. Journalist 2, and yet, people have seen the car move. They've seen his devices power homes. It's difficult to dismiss something that has been witnessed firsthand.
Narrator, Distension de Finette, The Chikumbutso Saga.
On one hand, real demonstrations existed. On the other, scientific principles insisted that perpetual motion was impossible. Between the two, an uncomfortable silence remained. Archival footage shows Maxwell giving a speech at a small public event, surrounded by supporters. Maxwell, I do not fear those who doubt. Innovation always begins with ridicule. They laughed at the Wright brothers. They laughed at Nikola Tesla. But the future belongs to those who believe in the impossible. Narrator, his defiance drew comparisons to past visionaries who challenged the status quo. But history shows that true innovation eventually withstands examination. Maxwell avoided it. His inventions remained shrouded in secrecy, offered only in brief glimpses that raised more questions than answers. The film cuts to a dramatized office in Johannesburg, where two potential investors watch Maxwell's presentation on a screen. Investor 1, if this works, it disrupts the entire energy sector. Imagine the value, billions, maybe trillions. Investor 2, but we can't verify it. If we invest and it collapses under scrutiny, our credibility collapses too. We're gambling with reputation. Narrator, corporations withdrew. Governments hesitated. Investors turned away. Yet among ordinary people, the legend continued to grow. For many Africans, Maxwell's story represented more than science. It symbolized resistance to dependency, proof that innovation need not always come from outside. The scene transitions to an interview with a Zimbabwean woman speaking quietly on camera. Woman, my children ask me about the car.
They say, Mama, will we read one someday?
And I tell them, maybe one day. Whether it is real or not, he gave us something to dream about. Narrator, dreams are powerful. They sustain societies through hardship. But when dreams blur with untested claims, trust begins to erode. Maxwell's secrecy became both his shield and his weakness.
The camera shift tout en American Research Facility.
Engineers stand around a table stacked with documents, evaluating claims made in interviews and reports. Engineer, the problem isn't just the lack of proof. It's the way the claims contradict the laws of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Yet his machines supposedly generate infinite energy. Either he has discovered something no one else has, or this is deception. Narrator, the line between discovery and deception is often thin. History is filled with inventors who promised breakthroughs that never arrived, each one remembered as a cautionary tale. Was Maxwell destined to join them, or would he emerge as the rare figure who defied scientific consensus? The tone of the film grows heavier as clips surface of online debates. Some accuse him of fraud. Others defend him fiercely, accusing critics of arrogance or of trying to suppress African genius. Narrator, in a digital age, narratives are shaped as much by belief as by fact. The Chikumbutso Saga became a battlefield not just of science, but of perception. And while arguments raged online, Maxwell remained largely silent, appearing occasionally to reiterate his faith in the divine inspiration of his work. A dramatized shot shows Maxwell alone in his workshop late at night, soldering wires while the hum of machinery fills the air. His face is serious, almost burdened. Narrator, to his supporters, this image symbolized dedication. To his detractors, it suggested a man rehearsing a performance. But to everyone watching, one truth became clear: no matter the doubts, Maxwell Chikumbutso had become a figure who could not be ignored.
The screen fades slowly to black.
Narrator, innovation is measured not in words, but in evidence. Illusion thrives where evidence is withheld. As the years passed, the world waited for Maxwell's next move, proof that would settle the debate once and for all.
It never came.
Instead, the mystery grew deeper, and the saga moved into uncharted territory.